I am interested to hear your opinion because you are so embraced by technology. Where is tech going in the construction industry? And the second part to that would be, where do you see it going with AI? And do you utilize AI both in the field and in the office? Because there's a lot of uses for it in the office that we're seeing here. So I'm interested to hear your take on that.
Where's technology going? I think it's solving problems. Specifically, the cost of goods is going up so high. The cost of the machine, the cost of materials, the cost of labor across the board. So if you can't be efficient, you can't make money. This is a tough industry to be in because your overhead is just massive. These machines it's not cheap. You add one machine, it costs as much as a house. And so when you have a fleet of machines, and trucks and then all the gear that goes with it, you have a huge investment. So to take that and then operating costs on a daily basis, insurance and just fuel, everything that's going out, those machines every day have to go out and be profitable. And so the technology is allowing you to just be efficient. I think it's becoming a necessary part for our industry. It's not something that you can continue to grow or scale a business without. I think you'd be really hard pressed to do it without it. So we're looking at, every time we talk with manufacturers, whether it's at ConExpo shows or actually in person at different events that we get invited to, or even just reading the construction magazines, you see everyone across the board is investing in it because they see that same reason. It's absolutely necessary at this point. So it's pretty cool to see some of the stuff that is coming. It's mind blowing to think from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, where a machine was simply a motor and hydraulics and a bucket blade, to today, you can completely operate that machine remotely. And now pretty soon with AI, you won't even need that. There's a huge debate on whether you're taking jobs. We actually have a massive shortage of people who want to sit in these machines and run them. However, remote operation may be more appealing to a younger generation who's more tech savvy and maybe sit in an office, built a space in their own, even in their home, and they could supply that in-person, the operator is running it from a screen, but it's a young person that might be drawn more to a video game feel than actually going out in the dirt, breathing the dust and sitting in the cab, traveling to the site. You got remote sites, you got all kinds of options. You think of these mining applications where you had a guy in that truck breathing that coal or whatever it was, even just stone dust, whatever, for years. And he dies young because he was in there. So why not? Why not get the guy out of that and find a different way to utilize that same operator, but maybe remotely? Or when there's a shortage, you have to come up with a solution. So that's the solution. The solution is to allow the machine to take on more. So, the world has changed. My great-grandfather dug foundations with horses and scoops down all over Long Island and in the city. I'm sure they hated hydraulics because there was an art that was lost in taking care of the horses. And I don't know what it would take to do that. It would blow my mind to even think of actually, having a farm and then using that for construction. It seems crazy.
That is crazy.
But what the hydraulics did for our industry and changed, that's what technology is doing again, or AI is going to do, where you could just lower the human factor, which is, in honesty, it's a lot of risk in what we do. So just in the applications that we've seen, having less people on the ground next to the machine, you can put them in another machine. We can actually afford to add machines because we have people to get in them. Whereas before, you didn't have the people to put in them. So I take the same crew of whatever your guys are, put them in more machines because they're all productive. So even your support machines, you got rollers that, they can show you the path that you've been on. They can tell you when you've passed it enough times, or, you're getting compaction on it. And it changes the quality of your work at the end of the day.